All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ Podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board, for the board. We hope that you enjoy.
Well, here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the stage Mr. Mark Slaughter. Don't you hate it when the singer can play better than the guitar players?
All right, so that was a bit more of Mark Slaughter noodling away. It's nice to see a shark fin V guitar being played. Indy Expo. I just had to share that once again. Welcome to episode 247 of the KissFAQ Podcast. I'm your host, Julian Gill, admin on the message board. Today we're joined by Bag Boy Alex, St. Louis Kiss Lonnie,
What's up?
And the voice of reason, 69 Blizzard Ken. Gentlemen.
Hello.
Good to see you. Thank you for joining me. Let's get through this plethora of news today. Where do we want to start? Let's start with additional shows added to the End of the Road. What's it going to be? That's going to be the third leg by then. Right now, it's supposed to be September the 17th at the Hollywood Bowl. Damn you. Because I'm going to Oakland the night before, and I am not traveling down to L.A. for that. And also the 20th at Staples, which I'm not going to travel down for either, but there you go. That's a big venue to try and fill as well, so we shall see how that goes. Interestingly, only one of those are official at this point, even though Kiss graphics were circulating all over the place. The 17th is neither on Kiss's tour schedule. I think it was there the other day and has gone. And it's certainly not on the Hollywood Bowl site, so that one may still not be completely signed, sealed, and ready to go, especially if they're doing one 3 days earlier at Staples. Maybe something's going on. Maybe it will happen. It's still a legendary venue that would be nice to see the band at, nice to see recorded, but we'll wait and see what happens on that. Still no announcement for Japan in December. But I've heard from a few people that those dates that I rattled off previously are actually accurate. I don't believe that until I actually see it from Kiss, so I wouldn't go booking any flights anywhere until they announce it officially. More likely it'll come from Udo artists first. Probably. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see, what else? There's a whole bunch of stuff happening this week. Vinyl. Oh my gosh. Every
German.
You sneeze, and another limited edition seems to get announced. First, there's the German pressing of Double Platinum, which looks like it's generally a 1985 design, and that's going to apparently, and we're going to say purportedly, allegedly, apparently, maybe, in silver vinyl, which sucks.
We don't know.
But we don't know. And
We'll find it out when we get it.
Maybe there's still time to say red would be better with the silver labels because it's nice offset and all that. Okay.
Yeah,
my opinion.
you know.
Of course, I'm always wrong. Also, best of the solo albums on splatter vinyl. If you're wondering,
that's interesting.
If you're wondering what splatter vinyl is, that's when everything kind of radiates out from the center. And it will probably look nothing like that, but there you go. Still very cool. And then today, I think, Metal Hammer announced exclusive German-only 7-inch single set. If you look back in Tom's Kiss My Wax book or on the Kiss Monster discography, in 1978, the only releases of singles of solo albums material in England was colored vinyl for the 4 singles, plus black versions of the regular ones in poster bags. And they're going to put out a single which has Nothing to Lose on one side and Hell or Hallelujah on the last. So pretty much first and last single sides in colored vinyl with the images of the original band members on the center rings, which, I mean, how do you put Hell or Hallelujah with Ace's face on it? It was just... Presumably it won't be on the side where the picture is, but we'll have to wait and see. So, that looks pretty cool. It's like €35 for the 4 single set, which seems very cheap. But I've ordered or put in a reservation for an invoice, as the case may be. So, I mean, yeah, it looks like lots coming down the pipeline. Anyone ordered any of that stuff other than me?
I am torn like an old sweater on the double platinum and the best of the solo albums. Part of me is like, oh, we'll just wait. Maybe they'll announce that it's, maybe there'll be U.S. releases for them eventually, but, maybe not either, especially the best of the solo albums because it was never an official U.S. release. So I'm probably going to end up pulling the trigger. I was trying to maybe get together with some other buddies to see if we can share some shipping costs and that, because the shipping is ridiculous, but, that's 2019 for you, I guess. So
yeah, now you know how the Europeans feel when they buy stuff from America.
Yeah, I know. So I guess it's my turn.
Yep,
it's my turn to eat the turd sandwich and have to pay all the shipping. So I'll probably end up doing it.
Yeah, I did order the double platinum from Amazon, Germany.
See, it's off Amazon now. Last time I looked, it was.
Yeah, I think they said it sold out already or whatever. It's not available anymore. And then I ordered the other one, Best of the Solos, from that You Discover. You Discover. So one's coming from one, the other one's going to the other one. I'm not doing the Metal Hammer thing, nor I don't think I'm going to do that Peter Criss thing that you did not mention.
What Peter Criss thing? Oh yeah,
Peter Criss.
Thank you.
Yeah. There's a pre-order thing there to get what color vinyl is it?
Purple.
The Peter Criss one. Green.
Purple. Of course, it's purple.
Yeah.
I mean, you think of Peter Criss and you think purple.
You think of Paul Stanley's favorite color. So anyway, I don't. Yeah. So there's only so much I can spend. I mean, it's like I'm already spending too much. So I just went for the regular, 12-inch vinyls.
Alex,
I haven't. I picked up Best of the Solo albums sealed like 10 years ago from a used record shop. I since opened it, and double platinum I'm leaning towards, but if I'd like to get one, I'd like to have it with the American logo. So I'm hoping there might be a U.S. release. I'm hoping they might do some other ones too, like maybe Killers with like a pink and blue splattered vinyl. I think that'd be cool. Curious on you guys' thoughts, because I think you, Julian, and Ken, you both had bought the Kissteria box set. Mm-hmm. So seeing double platinum, does that at all kind of irk you, or are you like, well, they only did the black vinyl for Kissteria, so it's a different color, so it's not going to affect me at all?
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't care as
Yeah.
long as it's not the same as what was released in the Kisteria box set. And anyway, Kiss always lies, so I don't really have a dog in any fight for it. You know, I would care if it was Greatest Kiss.
All they have to do is either remaster it or do something different to it, and they can call it a different version, repressing of this, and then get away with you did get the 1000, one of the 1000 in the Kisteria box. So yeah.
Yep. So let's wrap up with one last piece of vinyl, and this is gonna tie into today's main topic. But just because it's also a separate piece of news, I'll show you right now. So Monday, I think it is, or pardon me, Saturday the 18th at 5 p.m. Eastern, orders of the Rockologist edition of Bruce Kulick's BK3 red vinyl issue. This is the Indy edition, which I picked up from Tom there. And I got to say to Michael Edwards, fantastic job on the artwork. Everything that's been done on this album is top-notch and exquisite. It's red vinyl pressing. The thing we complain about a lot is the lack of a printed inner dust sleeve. This has it, and it's very nice. It's got an insert booklet that I haven't had a chance to read yet. Some collector fact cards in it. A pick. And, of course, the Obi, and it's signed. So this one from the Indy, I think they only did 60 copies of it. So I could not resist, and I had to open it because I got a Bruce pick the night he played, and I thought I'd put it in.
Oh,
here.
Nice.
And I couldn't find it when I got back, and unfortunately I had not put it in there, so I opened it. So we shall see.
It's a great album.
Pressing of that. Yeah, it's a great album. How many are they pressing of that? It was a small number, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it is 240 or 250 of the. I think it's 240.
The red vinyl.
Yeah, and it's got a slightly different hype thing down in the corner versus the Indy edition. So it's very, very good. Again, attention to detail and quality for your money, and I thought $60 for signed copies, pretty good value as well. Plus, who said it was a great album? Because I agree.
I did.
Absolutely, it's fantastic.
I agree.
It's Bruce's best solo album by far.
Yeah.
By far. I mean,
By far.
people were asking online, well, why didn't you do Transformers? Why didn't you do this? And Tom was like, I do what the artist would like. Yes. And it's also a great album. I hope at some point he goes back to Tom, and Tom can do a pressing of Transformer in blue vinyl.
An audio dog.
Or audio
Or
dog.
audio
new
dog.
material. Do it of new material.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. The last bit of news, well, two bits. One I forgot to mention about the tour is Billboard has done a nice article this week on the End of the Road tour for anyone who's counting dots or following what's going on. 58 million, the first leg grossed. 518,000 is the total number of paying fans performed to. I'd say that's a massive success considering, back in 1996-97, it was 43 million, and they had to play a heck of a lot. So even taking into account inflation, even taking into account how the concert industry has become an absolute pig, sucking money out of every orifice possible, and the ticket prices are nowhere near what they were, even adjusted for inflation.
Oh,
No, not even adjusted for inflation. It's not even close.
It's. I don't think you can compare the two tours. You can just simply say that the tour did very well for 2019, and I'm sure the band, and if they've had an upfront payment, the promoter will be happy. So, good news. It's positive. Hell, Kiss on Billboard. It's, again, get the name of the band that you profess to love out there, and whether or not you care about it, well, still be happy that they're relevant enough to be reported on. Last bit of news. Ken should have to talk about this because I know nothing. Classic Rock.
Classic Rock.
Yeah, go ahead.
Magazine.
Thank you.
Has a special edition of a Kiss only magazine. It's dedicated to Kiss. It's not like the that recent one they did with Kiss Destroyer on the cover, where they just have the one Kiss article in there, and then other bands and other stuff. But this one's all Kiss. It's a Kiss special, I guess you could call it, like the old Kiss specials, where they go back to, I think, a lot of their older interviews and go over the albums, discography, and so on. I don't know everything that's in it, but it sounded good to me, so I went ahead and pre-ordered that one. Looks good.
Very cool.
I probably will and find somewhere cheaper to order it from.
Speaking of Destroyer, really cool of Julian to send Mark the
the
Destroyer album.
That was right.
And I expect it to be behind Mark for every episode he does from here on out. It needs to be visual in every episode he does from here on out.
But what he should have done is not presented to Mark. It should have been presented to Bob Ezrin.
Nope.
just to irk him.
Nope, no chance. No,
We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
It had to be presented to Mark, and whatever he does with it, I said I was going to do it, and I did it. And
That's cool.
it'll always, whether this show continues for hundreds of episodes more, or whether it ends after this episode, we'll always have that kind of common bond of those of us who've been on a show with Mark and have had the pleasure of talking about his favorite album. So it's something that we all share in, and it's just it's cemented in gold, is the way I look at it. And just speaking of Mark, I just got a post. I got something in the mail today. One of his early CDs. Yeah, so that is Nasty Black. It is Kiss related because it's called Larger Than Life, and this was originally recorded by Mark in 1993 and reissued in 2006. All right, so
he was 10 years old.
Let's get into today's episode, which is a recap on the Indy Expo, which I attended this past weekend, and I think I don't know how to really go through this, to structure this, because we start off with Friday, and it's basically a concert. Get together, hang out, and then the Talisman, which is, of course, Phil, Ryan, Jeremy, is it Christopher Williams? Yeah, Christopher Williams. Got up on stage and jammed some Kiss shit, which was, really fun. But
was that just for the platinum holders, or was that for everyone?
Yeah, that was just for the special people. And
that's what I thought.
Just to get the number out there right now, I went to the end of the line the following day to find out what the last number of platinum people were, and it looked like there were 147 of us. So they basically played a show to 150 people in a ballroom, in a hotel. They, as always, knocked it out of the park. I can't remember what they played. I was trying to find a set list for that one, because when there's so many musical performances over the weekend, it all kind of like becomes a blur, especially when I'm working. So
they did Gene's infamous song from Animalize, Burn Bitch Burn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
That was a highlight.
That was great.
And apparently they
So
were
that
under
was
the
on
impression
his
that...
live feed.
Oh, it was. Whose?
Yours.
Did I go live for that?
I think so.
I probably went live a couple of times. I haven't been back onto Facebook and actually checked what I went live with, because, again, it was a blur. We got in there, and as vendors started setting up, because people were there. And I actually did a lot of business, again, Friday night, as I think, Lonnie, you might remember from, what was it, Atlanta?
That first night, Becky and I were helping you out. They were flying off the shelves. You had that again?
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, yeah, it just means that you don't then do the business the following day, which became a little bit of an issue because this expo was very lightly attended. Not surprisingly, with all the things we've just described, or I've just done a monologue about being for sale. Kiss fans' wallets. I mean, someone reaches into their back pocket now and pulls out a wallet, and it's just screaming. Or their significant other is screaming, because what we've spent on concerts,
I don't know what you're talking about.
What we spent on concert tickets, has really, seems to have added up. And again, for Indy, what appeared to be a big problem was it didn't have marquee names versus last year. Last year you had, Ace Frehley, which, no offense to Tommy, you also had Frehley's Comet, Anton Fig. So this year the guest list was much lighter, and I think we're done with night one. So let me just pull up the schedule for day 2. So the schedule was basically 9 a.m. The platinum ticket holders lined up for to get their registrations, all that. That went really quick. Again, Keith and Steve and the team do a great job of organizing these expos. And then we got in line for our Tommy photos. And, that was cool. I was, again, selling from that time. And the photos, as I posted one, turned out absolutely fantastic. But VIP holders got into the expo at 12 o'clock. And then did their photos. So they like came in. They had a little while to do the registration and all that, and then they went off in line. So you had the platinum people kind of hanging around, and everyone else was outside. So So I think probably just hit me question-wise, and we're going to do a giveaway during this episode, and it was the exclusive comic for the event, which I had the artist sign, where I was right next to him. Really nice guy, Stuart. So find out during the show what to do to win a copy of that, which I think retails for $14 on Kiss Army Warehouse. But that one, again, is signed. Alex, shoot.
I've got a question, because I've seen the pictures, but I want like the background story with the Mark Slaughter lesson.
Okay. I think that was on Saturday. And again, it could be. Mark was setting up his guitar with the tech, and that where our tables have been placed, I was next to the Kiss My Wax guys, Andrew and Hemden, Jason. We were right beside the stage, so we were like almost hidden from everyone. But we got a lot of action with, the artists. So Mark's over there, the guitar setup's all over there, and the shark fin comes out. So he's setting it up, he's setting up his gear, and then he's just like coming up. He's playing and noodling away, go up on stage. I'm standing next to him, and he's playing the intro to Mean Streets, harmonics, tap-ons, hammer-offs, the whole Eddie Van Halen Guitar Hero thing. And I'm like, I knew he could play guitar. I did not know he could play guitar.
Right.
Just blew my mind. So he's just walking us through. He beckons everyone up. I think Jason stayed down and filmed for us. Just walking through his rig, dialing in. This is what it does. This is what it does. Holy shit, this guy knows what he's doing. And, then he plays some of Eruption. And when he squats down, and those photos and all that, is him playing That Time of Year, the intro. So, Vinnie Vincent fan here, I just sitting there looking like a stupid old man. I mean, it really was very, very neat to be standing next to Mark, who's just like super awesome, really nice, while he plays that guitar. And I'm firmly, a believer that that's probably the only time we're going to see that guitar in action properly, which is probably the saddest thing, which is, I then knew that he was going to be jamming with the band. And I decided it was the only video I was going to capture. I wasn't going to record anything else, just get that and get that out online as quickly as I could.
That's super cool. I really enjoyed the video, and I know Ken felt otherwise, but I was like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool if Mark could just play a couple of Vinnie Vincent Invasion songs with the Ace Frehley, Gene Simmons band, just because that's probably going to be, like you said, the only time we'll see that guitar being played and stuff. And I was just like, oh man, what an opportunity! But the picture was super cool, and just seeing those photos, just as an outsider, you got the vibe like, man, Mark Slaughter's a very approachable, nice person to be around.
I didn't disagree with you, Alex. What I was meant is Mark Slaughter wasn't enough draw. That's what I was talking about, the draw of the expo versus, like Julian was saying earlier, where he didn't have a Ace Frehley or Peter Criss, whatever, like an original Kiss member. That's all I was talking about.
I agree.
Responded.
I agree with you on that. Last year Ace was there. I had just met Ace a couple months before that, so I didn't go to Indy, because if I hadn't met Ace a couple months before that, I probably would have been more inclined to go. But the Indy Expo is something I used to go to every year for 10 years straight. It's 4-hour drive from my house, so it's very doable, a fun weekend getaway. But I haven't gone the last few years because of I don't know, the draw isn't there for me as what it once was, because how many times do I need to meet Eric Singer or Bruce Kulick or Tommy Thayer Nothing wrong with those guys. They're great guys, and they're very important to the history of the band. But how many times do I need to meet them? And, well, I'm kind of running out of things to have those 3 guys sign because they've been the guests at the expo so many times straight. So the one year they had Paul Stanley. They had Paul freaking Stanley there in 2014, right after his book came out. And it was huge. I mean, the turnout was absolutely astounding. It was Paul Stanley. He didn't sign anything for you. He had pre-signed copies of his book. He'd hand you a pre-signed copy of his book. You got your picture taken with him, and off you went. And he did do a Q&A. Still, that was awesome, though. And the year before that, Gene was there. It was the same type of deal. But now it's just, I think I think after having those core members there, I think having the letdown of like, well, it's not Gene or Paul. You did have Ace last year. That's great. But I mean, here, let's be honest. They're not going to have Peter Crispy, I guess, at the Indy Expo.
Or Vinny.
And that's a shame.
Yeah.
Because I'd be jacked about Peter Crispy in there. I've only met Peter once. I'd be fired up. I'd be like, let's go. It'll be awesome. But it's not. It won't happen. And right now, I don't think Ace Frehley would happen again right now either. At least at this junction, I don't think Ace Frehley would happen again. So that's what you get is you get Tommy and Bruce and some other guys too.
Some other guys, not the. By the way, for anyone who takes offense at some other guys, his name's Lonnie. So I do want to just justify my reason for going somewhat. I hedged my bets. I thought Return of the Comet would be a lock-in for this expo after last year, and I really thought it would probably be my best chance being on the West Coast to see them. So I was a bit bummed that they, were never announced, and maybe something will happen with them. Who knows? But that was my hope. Tommy was also another reason for me. He was the only member of the band that I don't have a photo of out of makeup. So, again, I was hoping that he wasn't going to be, wearing makeup, and thankfully he wasn't. So my mission was accomplished in that I got the last member photo, and that was it. And come on, it is kind of cool. It's just a bonus to have Bruce and Tommy in the same photo, and the Q&A they did was nice and chill. I think both of them should have had individual Q&As, but
do they?
There we go.
Did they pre-screen the questions? That I'm gonna probably get a lot of hate mail myself for this one, but I look forward to what the Q&A is going to be. I'm like, oh man, maybe this is going to be some cool stuff coming out. And no offense to the people, because I get it. I was at an expo in 2008 when I got to meet Bruce, and I totally got to ask him a question. And so I get you want to ask the cool question or whatnot, but I'm like, I felt like a lot was like, I'm teaching a guitar clinic. What advice do you have for learning guitar and stuff? And I'm like, no, somebody asked Tommy, hey, Tommy, the Kiss Cruise was last year, and you guys normally do rare songs. What gives? Why was there not a rare song on the Kiss Cruise last year?
Now, Podcast Rock City was live streaming that, I believe, so you're able to watch the whole Q&A, and they also emceed. I thought they did a great job with the stuff.
Oh, they did great.
With that. Yes, and once it was it was Sonny and Joe. But once it was turned over to the audience, I thought the audience had great questions as well for them. There were some young people asking some smart questions. It wasn't the usual from my perspective. I was like, okay, they're giving the guys some different kind of stuff. Did a good job of balancing Tommy getting to speak and Bruce getting to speak. Bruce it just kind of takes command because he does so many of these things that it's almost a natural thing, or it seemed that it's a natural thing for him to just kind of go with the answers. But, some of the stuff that they asked, I didn't feel pre-screened to me, and I think that was the Q&A where Phil Elliott took over for 10 questions, and they had to grab the mic out of his hands. It seemed really good and totally not pre-screened.
Yeah, and I agree. There was definitely definitely some great questions that came about. And I love Bruce's, chiming in about, God gave rock and roll to you, being back, getting put into the set, or why Two of the Falling were dropped. And so there were definitely some great moments. I just, I don't know. I guess I'm like, let me get 30 minutes to ask them the questions. I'd love it. But
Yeah, and I tried to seed one question, and I didn't have time to tell the guys exactly what I was thinking, but they did mention Blackjack's 40th anniversary. What I was getting at with that is actually Blackjack's first live performance took place in July 1979 at Calderon on Long Island. So that was what I wanted to get to with Bruce and ask him about the rehearsing for that and how they approached, coming together as basically what was a collection of studio musicians. I'm frozen? Well, don't worry, everyone knows I'm ugly, as long as you can hear me.
No, you're frozen. To add on to Daniel's point, I listened to that interview.
Daniel?
I don't recall.
Who's Daniel?
I mean, not Daniel, I mean Alex. God, why did they do that? I've done that before.
It's been a while since I've been on.
I know, I'm sorry. But Alex, the point of the questioning, and I don't recall anyone asking Bruce whether he been asked to perform on any of the End of the Road tour shows. Did anyone ask that?
I don't. No. The only thing I remember kind of hearing, he made mention about he talked about like the Kiss Cruise coming up, and Tommy kind of, without saying anything, said like, yeah, we might do some stuff again, because they kind of briefly mentioned about when Bruce went up on stage for Domino and the other songs last year. But that was kind of about it. If anything, was just like, yeah, we'll probably do something on the Kiss Cruise. That was
but they didn't specifically address why he had not guested on the tour to date, and I'm not sure if it serves any purpose, because I think in most places Bruce was on tour with Grand Funk doing his regular thing, and then of course he quipped that you were playing Hide Your Heart, but then you took it out of the set, so what am I going to play, for my era, so. I don't know. It's like one of those things. Why go there for a certain extent? Okay, let's get into some of the other Q&A. Jean Beauvoir did a great Q&A. I can't remember a thing about it. Hirsch Gardner did a great Q&A. Hirsch, I want to get on the show, and I told him such because it seems very entertaining. His live performance, he played that, what was it? Was it the Saturday night? Yeah, Saturday night. Was absolutely fantastic. Thoroughly enjoyed it. That was not a band who I was looking forward to seeing or hearing, and I'd planned to be drinking in the bar while they were playing. But I actually hung out for them and got into it. I mean, he was really funny, really entertaining. And then Talisman came on with a special guest, and that's the set list. That's basically the whole night, because obviously you had Mark doing that. So,
real quick, did Hirsch at all in his Q&A? Because Mark was there. Did he happen to mention at all that was on that new Warrior CD, Thrill the Chase, which has like a Mark Slaughter singing demo?
No one asked. No one asked anything about those Warrior CDs, or about Worcester, Massachusetts. I mean, that maybe it's been overdone, but because I listened to so few, I mean, those would be the ones that I would want to ask. Ask him about the transition from Warrior and everything that was going on into Alcatraz, but that would be a whole episode, which is why we'll have him on this show hopefully and go through some of those questions. But I wasn't paying attention, honestly.
No worries.
It's very difficult off to the side, and once the music goes.
Sorry about that. My boss is outside with a chainsaw. I'm like, what the hell's going on out there?
So, I'm not totally sure where this set list came from. Oh well, I know where it came from. It was Kevin ripped it off the stage and then got it signed by everyone except one of the guests. So second night Talisman do Take Me, King of the Nighttime World, Making Love. I think that was done with I can't remember her name, the young gal from Vixen, not the original guitarist from Vixen, but she's very young. All American Man or American Woman, I don't know. Strange Ways, I Still Love You, She's a European, Dark Light. That was the other video, All right, I'll just shut up. But here's some of Dark Light. Okay. Parasite, which is John Corabi, if I remember correctly. Up All Night, which I was thrilled because I thought Mark was going to do Lick It Up, being a song that Invasion did, and they used to close out their set with that song. So when he had that V out, I thought that was what was going to happen. And no, as he mentioned in the recording that I put up, he went back to the 1990 arrangement of that song and had the boys learn it, and they rocked the freaking house. I've never seen Mark Slaughter live perform at all, so again, that was like a special moment for me because I've got all the Slaughter CDs.
I've been jamming to the best of this past week. Good stuff.
Yeah, I was. What was it? What did I have on in the car the other day? Oh yeah, first one. So great song, and he's still got the same vocals that he did. Another high point of that jam session was All Night with Jean Beauvoir. Absolute freaking monster. That dude can entertain. If you get some video of that anywhere, share it on, the link to it on the FAQ or Facebook, because he was just. I came back in. I think I'd been out to do something. I come back in, and there's a guy who wrote one of the songs from Asylum, my album, doing it on stage with the Rock and Roll Residency. So
we just got to get you. We just got to get you one of the Mohawk wigs, Julian.
Well, at least I don't have to do much with the hair to put it on. So. And then they closed out with I. So.
And Burn a Bitch Burn. Right? Was that the same night or was it a different night?
That was the first night, and I just don't have the set list. I couldn't find
no worries.
What the hell was going on. So, Lonnie was saying something. How many more autographs do you need? I agree. I'm in that boat as well. I couldn't be bothered to get autographs. And
I'm an autograph guy.
Yeah.
I'm not. I didn't want to bring vinyl to get signed. I brought the photo of me and Tommy in Sacramento in the Guitar Experience for him to sign. I mean, because I can't sell that now, which is great. I'll always have it. And then I had a friend who needed something signed by both Tommy and Bruce, and so I had them both do it. I had nothing else for Bruce. I didn't buy. Bruce was selling the mini guitars, which was really cool, as was Tommy. And to see those finally in person, I decided not to buy them as I have full-scale real ones. But very neat. They're also selling photographs for you to sign. But it's like, what do I do with it? I was selling Vinny autographs at my table, from the shit that I got signed, and Ace ones. I just don't need any more. I mean, Lonnie, what would it take for you to care?
For me to go back to Indy?
Yeah.
Peter Griff's. That's not going to happen. Peter or Paul Stanley, or you know what? And I was talking about this the other day to a buddy. You know what? I get it. If you bring out Paul Stanley, you can't. You could say, all right, even if it was just one thing signed, nobody gets up there like Atlanta with Vinny with 300 things for him to sign. Each person gets one thing, so the line keeps moving, and Paul doesn't have to sit here all day. Each person gets one thing. Okay. Me and my wife will go, well, that's two things I can get signed by Paul Stan. So I'm missing Paul on a few things that I need to complete. That would spark my interest. Or Gene would spark my interest. Or Peter would spark my interest. But again, I think how many Tommy autographs do I need? Well, Tommy is great, don't get me wrong. But Tommy hasn't played on a whole lot of stuff. So there's not a whole lot of things that I need Tommy to sign. He signed my Kiss Read. He signed my box set. He signed Monster for me. He signed Sonic Boom for me. Well, I'm not gonna. I like the Kiss Rocks Vegas LP, but I'm not gonna travel 4 hours just so I can get him to sign that. You know what I mean?
What about your Black and Blue albums?
Did you? Oh yeah, I guess so. Pardon the hell out of me.
You could get him to sign your Scooby Doo with "Don't Touch My Ass, God."
Right. What was I? I should have went. So, but that would spark my interest. Is an original member of the band type of thing to be there for the expo. But I think at the same time, I think that's the reason maybe for a lackluster of attendance. But also what Julie mentioned as well is that a lot of guys like us have spent a lot of money on Kiss going back to Halloween when the first leg of that tour was announced.
I thought you were going to say going back to Halloween 1976.
Well, that's true as well for many. But going back to Halloween of 2018, a lot of guys have spent, and girls have spent a lot of money on Kiss since then. And it's hard to make that justification where, Kiss toured over the winter. And a lot of people traveled to go see Kiss. I know I did. Julian, you did. And it's hard to make that justification that, well, I'm going to travel and go to an expo now. Well, didn't you just travel to go see the band? Do you really need to go do this too? And for some people, the answer is yes, and they go. More power to them. But for other people, the answer is, well, no, I probably don't because, well, they are coming back again. Oh, because by the way, they are coming back again over the summer, and I am seeing them again in a few months. So maybe I sit this one out.
I wish.
So I think I think the combination of the two is your reason why you said, Julian, it wasn't as well attended as it had been in the past.
Yeah, I wish my parents, gosh, when was this? 12, 13 years ago. They went out to Vegas to a Chicago convention, for the band Chicago.
The Windy City.
Yeah.
That's the Windy City that you and me, Ken.
But
Thank you for that.
And when it went, it was held at, I think it was held at like the Stardust Hotel in Vegas. And anyway, they got to meet the whole band, and the band did a concert there, and it was just a basic, Chicago show, but it was in that small Stardust theater, so I don't know, a couple hundred people. I think to really capture like these expos and stuff, and nothing against again, Bruce and Tommy, awesome people, so it's nothing against them. But to make a draw, especially with like kind of Kiss doing the end of the road, I'm just thinking like, man, it'd be kind of cool. And I could see them doing an awesome thing. Was that they got like the Revenge lineup to do. Amy they said, well, not doing autographs, but you get a group photo with the Revenge lineup and stuff. You got to do something to draw the people. I mean, that's why I think a lot of people went last year to the Indy Expo because there was the Frehley's Comet aspect of it. Like people were getting a picture with a band that hadn't been together since 1988. So in 30 years, 30 years.
Yeah, but look at the other guests that were there. I mean, last year, basically everyone was there. This year, let's see if I can remember going around the hall. I mean, it was down to basically that one big ballroom as well. So you had Lita Ford. I have no idea why. Yeah, I can't think of any reason why.
That doesn't.
She was on Origins. Come on, Wild Thing. Come on, Julie.
Yeah, she was on Origins, and she also recorded Rotten to the Core back in the early 90s on Gene's 84th revision of the song. Yeah, and she was signed to Polygram, which...
Yeah, but
and Eric Singer
Lita Ford doesn't move the needle for me, though.
It was just absolutely pointless to me, and I didn't even go over and say hi. Mark Slaughter. Okay, so he's got a great reason to be at any Kiss thing because, number one, he's really nice, and people can meet a rock star who's got class, dignity, is accomplished, and has a Kiss connection. He should have done a Q&A.
Karabi, same thing.
Yeah, Karabi didn't do anything. I mean, I don't think other than the performance with Bruce, which we'll get to, when we talk about day two, he wasn't exactly set up and signing as far as I could tell. I could be wrong. Again, I was buttoned up in my detention corner, so I didn't go out and about. What's his name? Edward Furlong from Detroit Rock City. That what people seem to enjoy, which then the interaction, I think the Mountain did his recap video of it, Mountainous. And had some great interaction with him, which was very nice to see. Who else? Well, you had Hollywood and Joe from Podcast Rock City, who had such a bad table position that they moved outside into the hall. I probably should have done the same, but I'm not sure it would have mattered, to be perfectly honest, with the light turnout in terms of what I did business-wise. But they were smart. They were out there. Hopefully they recorded some cool stuff and with the fans. But am I forgetting it? Pisto Blanco closed out the first night, and I went to the bar. And then I decided I didn't want to drink either, and went up to my room to process the video to get up on YouTube. I also screwed up and thought it was Game of Thrones night, but that's beside the point.
Besides the marquee players or people not being there, is another issue just being either too many too many of these expos happening too frequently, and then also it's again on Mother's Day weekend, which I just don't get it. And maybe it needs to be a one-dayer, show if they're going to do something like that. I mean,
that makes a difference too. That makes it hard for people too. Makes it, again, it's hard to justify.
Yeah,
well.
Mother's Day is a terrible thing to miss, and for me to fly away from my wife, the mother of our child, on Mother's Day, I don't like doing it. And I even forgot to call my own mother, which is even worse. Well, she is in England, so there's a time difference that messes things up.
That's a good excuse. Yeah.
It's a good excuse.
Plus, in England, it is Mothering Sunday takes place earlier on in the year, so
yes.
I'm sure she would say, "I'm your mother. I get to celebrate both." Are you saying that there's too many days for mothers? No, but it's a bad time of year, but it's the only time they can really do it. And especially with everything going on in Kiss World, so I do get it. But one of the things I heard, the biggest complaint from attendees was the cost. And, these were very expensive tickets for VIPs or Platinums, and for some said they nearly didn't come because of the price. And I don't know, I'm not interested in the finances of an expo. That's the last thing I ever want to know about. But it was something that was on people's minds. It was on people who didn't attend's minds, because I know people who didn't go because of the cost, and because of the cost of hotels added to that, and travel.
It's not a cheap weekend.
No. It's not, though I think what's packaged in with what you get for those tickets was good value. And once you got there, the warehouse had a lot of really good, there were $5 t-shirt clearances and official merch. Come on. So there were very good deals to be had. But again, it's really difficult and feels unfair to compare it with last year. So let's get into Sunday. So Sunday, followed the same sort of schedule. Things started at 9 a.m. I'm glad I didn't stay out drinking. I'm too old for that. So I was back there early morning, and nothing really happens until 2. For admission, VIP gets in at noon, and it's all photos until from then on. And things were running late. And when regular admission took place, oh sweetheart, oh my goodness, I miss those days. Well, absolutely gorgeous.
Time for a burp.
Yeah, there might be a seagull down the back, and mine used to.
Yeah.
I used to pat him, and he would let out all the milk he just had. So, that is a content baby. That is adorable. Okay, so thank you for distracting me, Alex. I'm just on look at baby.
My bad.
The main thing on Sunday was the Q&A with Tommy, which got bumped back. It was a little late, and then they combined with Tommy. I think we've already, or with Bruce, pardon me. And then the rest of the day was it was light. I don't think I did any business.
Really?
There were no new people coming in just for Sunday, or maybe they're not interested in, me in the corner, which is fine.
Which is possible as well.
No. So then Hirsch performed again, and it was enjoyable again. And I think the high point, obviously, was the Bruce and John acoustic session for this day. They got up there and they ripped out the Union songs. And
that's cool,
though. Corey, which, again, I want to give a massive shout out to Corey for all his assistance this weekend and in advance. I sent all my shipping to him, brought it over to me at the hotel, and it wasn't as bad as last year. Last year I had like 14 boxes delivered to him. This year, I think it was 4 or 5. And he brought all that stuff over to me. He hung out at my table the whole weekend so that I could do bio breaks and food breaks. He went out and got food for us. Jason and Andrew helped out as well, kept an eye on things. We all looked out for each other. So, that was what was the massive success for the expo for me. Was hanging out with people, meeting new folks, seeing old friends, and, the personal part of getting together as fans and just talking about music, talking about life, talking about everything. is definitely where it's at. So we get into the Bruce and John performance, and it's live streamed. You can go and check that set out. But oh my goodness, getting to hear those Union songs again live. And, Krabby had said the day before when he got up to jam with the band that I think the last time he was in Indy, he went out to a club and ended up handcuffed to something. And that, I think, was the last time I went to Indy before last year. And I was invited out that night that they were going out. And because where they were going isn't my scene, I had, kind of declined and gone back to my room to call my fiancée at the time.
Look at you.
So there, all these years later, if that is the same night he's referring to, then I now know what happened that night. So it was like finding out the last page of a book and just being thankful that I didn't go out that night in 1999 or 2000 or whatever it was. So I thought that was fun.
Is it time for our good friend John Karabi to come on stage? I purposely put John Karabi after this to save the show in case that did not go so well. Here comes John Karabi, everybody! John Karabi. My autocorrect in my phone says John Karate. Karate. But then sometimes it spells karate Q-U-E-R-B-I. So I do want to say hello. I want to thank Keith LaRue for bringing everybody here again together. This is, I guess you could say this is the birthplace of ESP. Yep. And the last time I was here, I had a headache. I went out with Eric Singer and Keith and a few others, and I woke up handcuffed to a pole in a strip bar. I had a headache, and somebody gave me 2 muscle relaxers and didn't tell me you're supposed to not drink when you take them. Whatever, it's a long story. Sorry, that's 5 minutes of your hear the rest of That's 5 minutes of your life you're never getting back. And boy, did my ass hurt. Yes, I think I'm ready. Are you guys ready? Yeah! Wait, I'm a little pissed you guys didn't give me a standing ovation when I came in, but that's okay. Thank you. Listen, Tommy Thayer's not the only star in the building. Thank you. All right, let's do this.
But their set was absolutely fantastic. Didn't last long enough. John got up and left, I think, after 5 songs. And Lisa came on, and my initial response was, really? You're going to do that? And then she started singing. And she was absolutely stunning. We know she can sing. We've heard her on Facebook streams and things that Bruce has done. And when she did Nothing Can Keep Me From You, she owned that song. And as we told her when she got off stage, you actually made me like that song for 5 minutes. She was that good. And that song has never been a favorite of mine. And to say I despise it would be putting it lightly. I've called it some rather mean things. But because Bruce played bass on it when it was cut in the studio, he told a little bit of a story about it, and she nailed it. She did a great job on all the songs she sang. I just would have loved a Union reunion. And I think we're running out of opportunities for that with the electric guitars.
I think that would be such a great job for an Indie Expo, would be Union reunion. To see Union, do a concert again. I love it. October Running Wind is like one of my favorite songs of all time, and the fact that they did it was just like awesome. But they've got so many other great songs that they could easily pull off a great set.
Yeah, but they never played to audiences when they were an active going band. I mean, they were playing to 75 or 100. Mm-hmm. I think this would be the only way to get them a large audience. But even then, unless there was some marquee name, I think it's just one of those things that lives larger in our minds than the reality would be. I think even packing out a room, at Indy, they would have to sell additional tickets to people who just wanted to come for that one performance, and they might get 10 people. I just don't see it being commercially viable which is a shame. So before I forget, let's do the giveaway details for this comic. And it's simple. Email me at KissFAQ@outlook.com by Wednesday the 22nd, or whatever day next Wednesday is, at noon, with the song that I thought Mark was going to jam on with the Talisman when he performed with them, and the Flying V. And you'll be entered for a random drawing for this, and again, signed by the artist. That can be yours. Did I leave out any pertinent details? I usually forget something, which is...
No, you said the email address.
Okay, and I said when the drawing was, and I said what I'm giving you, and it's open to anyone, anywhere. And it is, let me just clarify, that is dedicated to thanks from KissFAQ, and then signed by the artist. So, there you go. Other thoughts, folks? Because I'm not completely lost where I was.
Well, I mean, what were your expectations? I mean, going to it even before,
I had expected a little bit more business, more people looking for things. But then again, I hadn't brought vinyl this year. I knew it was going to be smaller, so obviously with only, shipping 4 boxes out, and, Odysseys and Gaps and the Gene Simmons Vault supplement, I think they were all gone the first night, and it were all gone, just very soon after. I only brought 4 copies of each, and only two hardcovers of each of those, those kind of marquee books, just because they're so, kind of old now that, I'm surprised that there was the interest in them. And by the way, 2 people did not get change. I was away from the table and then hadn't left my pocket of fivers with Corey. So those people who opted to just say, keep it, that $10 would go up on JR's cancer GoFundMe. Just so you know that I'm not going to keep that in profit from my own mismanagement, but we'll give that to JR. And that's also a good reminder for everyone else that GoFundMe is still looking for, if you can spare $2, spare $2 for him. It all adds up in the end. And if 1,000 people give $2 each, that's $2,000 towards what he needs for his cancer treatment. It's unfortunate we have to ask for help, but there we go. So my expectations, I don't know. I just thought it would be more happening and more energy there, because we've just come off the first leg of the tour where it's been very exciting for the vast majority of people. There have been great reviews of enjoying the show. I think I would have liked a little bit more celebration of what was going on in current Kiss Land. I would have liked more Q&As. I would have liked Tommy to have his own. I would have liked Bruce to have a Q&A, John to have a Q&A. But again, schedule-wise, it would have been very difficult. I would have liked more vendors,
Really?
What kind of vendors were there outside of Kiss Army Warehouse and you?
Tom and the Rockologist was there with vinyl. Tom and his lovely wife, they looked like they were having a very busy weekend. Eric Carr was represented there and seemed to do good business. David Arquette, Kiss Museum. Well, David was taking photos, and Kiss Museum was there. And I know someone around me had bought a couple of his very high-end items, which everyone will be jealous of. The double platinum store display. I didn't buy them.
Did you say David Arquette?
Peter Arquette.
David Arquette.
Which Arquette? That's the one. That's like the famous.
I just want to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Peter. Sorry.
What's he doing?
David.
Okay.
Shows how much
signing copies of Scream.
I've been on TMZ too much apparently. So who else? Phil, Creatures of the South, was there, and that was, I think, it. One or two. There was one merch dealer who was only there on Sunday, and again, very, very light. I mean, we could all fit in that ballroom, even if I had to be in the corner.
And someone has to be in the corner.
And Stuart was there with his art, and I mean, he had a ton of Kiss and other kind of comic style art, and he had a very big display. Yeah, so it was very light, but there was some good stuff. I mean, apart from the BK3, I did buy a promo cassette, Greatest Kiss Advance.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, I don't need it. I actually have it already, but I couldn't remember what I had, and it there's one of
We all
them.
have that problem from time to time.
Backup
Yes.
copy.
No, it's going. It's
Backup cassette copy. Because you need that.
It's trade. That's what I'm going to have to trade. That's just. So before we wrap here, because there's not that much to discuss, I do have a lot of copies of this left, and this is the On Tour. I'm waiting for them to arrive back. Got great reviews. There just weren't enough people there to actually buy it. So I'll be doing these by mail for those who are interested. And once that book arrives back, anyone who's buying it from me by mail will get a insert, which I'm waiting for to arrive as well. So it's just one of the photos that's in the book, printed on a postcard, something to make it a little bit more interesting.
It's excellent, though. I really do recommend people to get it. It's a great read to kind of get started on the tour, and the tour books have all the great pictures. This has all the fun minutia for the tour, so definitely worth that.
Yeah, it's and only actually 7 box scores have come out now since then, but I think we had 43 million of the gross accounted for. Again, good feedback. It's a nice addition to the library, a cheap edition. It's going to be the same pricing. I do have copies of the large On Tour as well that I will offer up at Indy pricing, just because I don't need to have 9 copies at home. Any last thoughts or questions about it that I haven't covered? I think that, again, it's one of those things. Hirsch, I will reach out to. He's been on podcasts before, but I think we can ask him some of our own unique questions and get his spin on things. The warming up in the bathroom story is out on Facebook. If anyone is wondering what that was all about, go on Facebook, because when I think it was Jason tried to go into the restroom, he was stopped from doing so by a big burly security guard. He was wondering why on earth Hirsch Gardner needed a security guard in the restroom. But actually Tommy was in there, so they actually then filmed a little bit of warming up. I walked into the restroom at one point, and there was a guy in Peter Criss makeup in basically a Paul Stanley Crazy Nights thong. He was.
Oh, no.
See anything you like?
He was legitimately getting changed into his costume, but it was just one of those things when you go in and you're like,
So
right.
You can't unsee that.
You just can't. You just cannot unsee it. So, it was cool. What I will do is thank every single person who came by the table and said hi during the weekend. It was great to meet a whole bunch of people. It was great. Again, Mark is just so cool. That is one of those. Really good memories that I'll cherish of just, being, come up on stage while I show you my gear and talk about guitar. You have to remember, he was a guitar teacher as well. So he's got that nature that is really cool. And that was the only other thing I had signed. I have a photo of him last year at the expo when I had that guitar. I was taken around to get signed to raise money. When I was at his table, I was made to take a photo because I wasn't going to, request one. So I'm sitting there holding the guitar, and he's just being Mark. So I got that signed, and it's now up on my wall, my ego wall, right next to Tommy. So very, very happy. Again, it was a good weekend. Yes, we've kind of talked about some of the downsides to it, but the upsides were it was a great weekend. Saw a lot of people. Got to hang with Jason and Corey, and that other guy. Oh yeah, Andrew. That other guy. I never.
He's short. You overlook him sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I never want to see or hear a Greatest Show on Earth again. I think that was on loop on his laptop. We did try and sell his laptop, but it is a great show, and I hope he does some more projects like that because that was real fun. I hope Tom continues to do Rockologist projects because again, that's all very positive.
Sure.
Oh, Ken Verdenis, the Pickmeister.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, getting to hang with him. We were watching the Bruce set together, and that was one of those nice moments when I saw those picks on the floor. It was like, oh, these are the ones that Bruce is using tonight. Really, really fine but super grippy picks, and able to give Ken a pick. Not quite stage played, but there you go. So, all right,
he got a cool picture with I guess Tommy and Bruce bugging him about the guitar picks, which is really cool.
Yeah, and he's the guy. He's the knowledge base. So, we'll have to get him back on the show, right, Alex, for part 2 of that episode. Part two. Yeah. So, all right, let's leave that there. Contest, it's somewhere in the show. Other stuff, wait and see, and then we'll figure out what we're doing next week. All right, so you made it this far. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we've broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.